another episode of Cooking with Steve. Today we'll be making corned beef brisket. And what I have here is I have a 10-pound brisket. This is an entire brisket. Of course, and I got this from the butcher, but of course you don't have to use the whole thing. You can always order a smaller piece. And so what we're going to do is, we have a number of spices here that we're going to prepare a dry rub. You can also do a brisket with a wet rub, in which case you can just leave it there and not have to deal with it for 7 days. Or if you use a dry rub, it's preferable to put it in a plastic bag that's airtight, and you will need to rotate the brisket every day for 7 days. In this particular case, we're going to be doing the dry rub. A brisket is a very versatile piece of meat. Once we have this corned beef ready, we can do a number of different things with it. We can make it into a brisket with cabbage and potatoes and carrots, which is very common. You can also slice it up deli style, and you can make sandwiches with it on a nice piece of rye and maybe some mustard seed. And alternatively, you can also chop this up and make corned beef hash with it, which is actually one of my favorite things to eat at breakfast. So let's get started. So to prepare the dry rub, we have a number of different spices here. It looks very complex, but I think once you have all these ingredients, it's actually quite easy to prepare. Once we have all these mixed together, we're going to put this on the brisket. We're going to encase this in a vacuum bag, which I will use my vacuum sealer to seal up. And as I said before, we're going to put this in the fridge and rotate it every day for up to 7 days. And after 7 days, then you can take the brisket out and clean off all the spices and pat it down with a paper towel. And then there's a number of ways that you can cook it. The way I'm going to cook it is with sous-vide. You don't have to do that. You can also put it in a Dutch oven and put it in the oven to cook. So if you don't have a sous-vide, you could do it using a regular oven. Started with the dry rub. So to start, we have 1.5 cups of kosher salt. You can pour into the bowl. Next, we have 2 tablespoons of sodium nitrite. Now, sodium nitrite is the salt that will allow you to keep the brisket pink in color, as well as to kill any pathogens or bacteria, and to also enhance flavor in your corned beef. This is the curing salt that I'm using. It's called Prog No. 1 powder. It's actually 6.5% sodium nitrite, and the rest is just regular salt. Next, 2 tablespoons of allspice berries, 2 tablespoons of ground ginger, 4 tablespoons of black peppercorns, 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, 4 tablespoons of yellow mustard seed, 4 tablespoons of coriander seed, 12 bay leaves, which we've torn up into smaller pieces, and we also have 12 cloves. All this in your bowl, you combine it so it's mixed thoroughly, and then we are going to apply this to the brisket. Once the brisket is covered, we will place that into a bag, and we will seal it into an airtight bag, which we will leave in the refrigerator for 7 days. So now I have the brisket. It's in the food saver bag. The next step is to really add all the spices, put it in there, massage it thoroughly, seal it up so it's airtight, and then we'll place it into the refrigerator. Okay, so it's been 7 days and 7 nights, and our brisket has been in our fridge, and we've been flipping it every day once. And now it looks like this. It's darker in color. Some liquid has come out of it. Salt has pulled some liquid out of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook this brisket now. And before we do that, we're going to take it out of the packaging, and we're going to rinse off all the spices from it, and we're going to pat it dry. And then I'm going to put it back in this vacuum pack. And there's going to be a couple ways that we can cook this. One way is by using sous vide, and the other is by using a Dutch oven. Obviously, a big piece of meat like this would only fit in a big container like this cooler that I have here that I've made into a cooking vessel for my sous vide. If you don't have something quite as big as this, you could always use a regular pot, in which case then you would have to probably cut your meat up into different smaller bags so that will fit in your pot. This is the sous vide machine. It is quite affordable these days. It's very easy to use. You set the temperature and you set it on and you let it go. And it will warn you if the water level starts to go low. The nice thing about using cooler is that it keeps all the heat contained inside. The outside will feel cool, whereas if you use a metal pot, you're going to start to lose some heat. And if you can't seal it completely, then you're going to lose some water during the cooking process. So what I've done is, using this cooler, I've actually cut out a hole, and what we're going to do is we're going to fill this with water, and we will insert our sous vide like so, and we'll turn it on and we'll heat up the water, and when the water reaches temperature of 180 degrees, we're going to put our brisket inside, and we will cook this for 10 hours. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the meat out of the sous vide once it's done, and we're going to put it into an ice bath to stop the cooking process and to prevent the meat from going bad as it's sitting in a warm temperature for a long time. Let the meat then stay in the fridge for a day before you cook it. If you're going to cook it in a Dutch oven, clearly this whole big piece of meat is not going to fit into this Dutch oven. So again, you would probably only corn a smaller piece, and then be able to put this in the oven. You cover it with a couple inches of water. What we're going to do then is we put it on the stove top and bring it to boil, and then we'll put it into the oven at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 hours. And once that's done, your corned beef will be ready to eat. So please comment if you have any suggestions on how we can improve these videos, or if you like what we're doing. Also, please feel free to subscribe to our channel. We look forward to cooking more with you.